Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. Moycullen are Connacht senior football champions. They have beaten Tourlestrane by a scoreline of 13 points to 6. Huge result in the end for Moycullen. They are Munster champions for the very first time in the club's history at senior level. And look, all in all, probably not the greatest watch, if I'm being perfectly honest. Certainly getting up on a Sunday morning. Probably a lot of better things you could probably be doing with your life. But to be fair, the weather is absolutely awful, and it's a nice little break from the World Cup, in fairness, isn't it? But look, what a result in the end for Moycullen. I think the game was very much won in the second half. I think the first half was very cagey. You could see both sides sort of trying to feel each other out, trying to get rhythm into the game. I think conditions played a huge part in this game. Like a lot of the games this weekend, you could see Tourlestrane with a win in the first half probably didn't really take, enough advantage, really, if I'm being honest, when they had the win, as opposed to Moycullen, who I think hit 7 or 8 points in the second half. And there was one sort of spell where they hit like 5 points without reply, won a couple of kickouts back-to-back, won a couple of Tourlestrane's kickouts back-to-back, really just kicked on, pushed on from there. And it was just tough for Tourlestrane. You could see Tourlestrane in that second half trying to almost run the ball through, like they were trying to create goal opportunities, goal chances. With that breeze, obviously very difficult for Tourlestrane to be kicking from distance. Could have backed themselves maybe a little bit more, but I think at the same time, when you're playing against the breeze, you're always running the risk of giving away possession, missing the opportunity. You want to work the correct score, work the correct chance, move the ball into the right positions. And, fair play to Moycullen, who defensively very strong. Sean Kelly with a very good game. Mulcahy as well. Peter Cook, absolutely phenomenal. Obviously coming back into the side from injury. 3 points from him. How critical has he been for Moycullen down the years? And, you think about it, obviously he's been missing for the last couple of games due to injury. Don't think he played in the Strokestown game. I know he didn't play in the Westport game. Comes back into the side and he was absolutely brilliant. Like getting a couple of big challenges, big turnovers in there at key moments in the game. 3 points from himself as well. I thought he was very good. Paul Kelly, equally brilliant. Desi Keneally was quiet at times and probably was starved maybe of getting quality ball put into him, mainly because of how this game was played and because of conditions and everything else. But he still got himself 4 big points. And, those points absolutely coming at critical times. And yeah, I mean, look, in the first half, it was a very slow game. I think we only had a point apiece after about 10-15 minutes. Was really slow out of the traps for either side there. Munster champs, Connacht champs. Apologies there. Sunday morning and all the rest. Connacht champions. What am I saying? Jesus. Connacht champions. Apologies for that. But anyway, yeah. Look, I mean, Moycullen very good in this. Very slow sort of to begin with. And it was just a very slow game, very cagey, as I said before. I think with the fact that there was so much on the line for either side as well, like it's obviously, neither one of these two sets of players would have played in a Connacht Club Championship final before. So huge game for either side, a lot at stake, a lot of sort of, big trophy obviously on the line for both sets of players. But look, to be fair to Tourlestrane, like I think they would have been happy with how the first half went. They stuck very close with Moycullen. Moycullen didn't pull away in the first half. It wasn't really until the second half. Liam Gahan, I thought, a very good game. John Kelly as well. James Leonard, although he didn't score, played 1 or 2 very good passes and got himself into some very good positions at different times. But it was just in that second half spell, really, where Moycullen pulled away. I mean, between the Gary Gahan scores a big point in the 35th minute for Tourlestrane, but after that, Moycullen with 6 points to 1 up until the 56th minute. So, a 5-point swing there in about 20 minutes. And that was really critical for Moycullen during that time. Paul Kelly getting on the score sheet, Michael O'Reilly as well. Peter Cook getting himself 2 points during that spell. And they just started winning a lot of kickouts and really sort of turning the opposition and turning the screw. And for Tourlestrane, they, maybe just the break of the ball, a little bit more luck sort of in the final third. There was one opportunity where I think a ball was played into James Leonard and it sort of just bounced away from him. Another opportunity, I think, where he hit the post as well. Like they got themselves into a good few positions, but maybe just the break of the ball, the bounce of the ball just didn't quite work out for them in the end. And sometimes in these big games, as much as it's about quality, it's about getting a bit of luck as well. And maybe Tourlestrane on the day didn't quite get that. I think another thing we're pointing out as well, as you could see from watching this game, when Tourlestrane would win frees and win opportunities, they wanted to play the ball quickly. They wanted to kick it directly sort of into that full forward line or move the ball quickly. And I don't know how many times there was Moycullen players standing in front of, some of the Tourlestrane kickers, just slowing the game down. And I thought the referee should have done a bit better in sort of, calling that out, maybe giving a yellow card or sort of giving out a caution, because, Tourlestrane couldn't move the ball as quickly as they wanted to when they won frees in those big moments. But Gavin says Galway clubs won all the Connacht trophies this year. The All-Ireland club semis should be interesting. Yeah, look, Moycullen will play the winners of Ulster in the semi-finals. And that'll be tough for them. Look, you would have to fancy the Ulster champions, whether it is Whitey Graham's Glen or Kilcoo. Like, I think either one of those two will be massive, massive favourites going in against Moycullen. I think for Moycullen, getting through Galway, they were massive favourites to come through Connacht. When you looked at the teams that were in there, Strokestown playing in a Connacht championship for the first time in 20-odd years. Obviously, they had a huge, huge achievement in winning the Connacht championship the way they did. Westport have never been in there. So for Moycullen, after beating Westport, they were the favourites. They had to live up to the hype. They had to live up to the billing. And fairness, they've done it, and it hasn't been easy. Maybe got a couple of decisions go their way against Strokestown. They were excellent, I thought, against Westport. And against today, it wasn't the prettiest of games. It wasn't the best of games. But they got what they needed to do done. And in the end, they get the victory and they go into the All-Ireland semi-finals. And, they'll be going in as underdogs in the All-Ireland semi-finals, which will be different for a Moycullen perspective, because Moycullen would have been the favourites in the Galway final and they would have been favourites in a lot of games they would have played in Connacht. So in some ways now the pressure is off them a little bit. And, I think anything from here, whether they win the semi-finals or even whether they go out, I think it's been a very, very successful year for them, and I think they can, hold their heads up high, in my opinion. And, Peter Cook, as I said, I mean, how critical would it be, or how good would it be from a Galway perspective to get him back in the team next year? I mean, Galway have a couple of very good midfielders already, but to have him in and around the team as well, it just makes Galway that extra bit of a force. And massive for Moycullen. Big performance for Peter Cook, hitting 3 points. Paul Kelly, excellent as well, as I said before. And as I wrongly said at the start, Moycullen, not Munster champions. I don't know what happened there. An absolute brain fart from myself there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. But Connacht club champions for the very first time. Huge moment. And look, hopefully, anyways, it will be a good game in the All-Ireland semi-finals. But conditions did play a big part. Make no mistake about that. I think it's going to be the same during Kilmacud Crokes the Downs, because the weather in Dublin is absolutely atrocious at the minute. So I wouldn't expect that game to be a spectacle either. But yeah, look, and from a Tourlestrane point of view, they finish with 6 points. Obviously, they'll be a little bit disappointed with that. But I think to get to a Connacht club final, much further than they've gone in the past. So, and with their sort of stranglehold in Sligo at the moment, they'll be back in Connacht next year. I'm fairly certain. And the experience it will give some of those players, some of the younger lads in there as well, absolutely massive. And 6 points disappointing. Weather was tough. Playing against a much higher quality opposition. A game like this will stand to them, I've no doubt about it, going into next year. But without a shadow of a doubt, the day belongs to Moycullen. Big victory, big result for them. Massive congratulations. Connacht club champions for the very first time. Hit the like button and subscribe if you could. We'll be going live after Kilmacud Crokes versus the Downs, so stay tuned for that one. We'll also be going live later tonight with Matthew Hurley of the GAA Statsman to run through all the weekend's club action. A lot to discuss in both football, hurling, a lot of provincial finals, a lot of talking points. So make sure you tune into that one later as well. My name's Aaron, and I'll see you all later.